Recording. Hello, welcome to episode 12 of Transatlantic MMA. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Anthony Birchak, for joining us. Anthony here is a former UFC, Bellator, Rizin, and is a current Bantamweight, which is obviously a division that's on the map and is particularly hot at the moment. So thank you for joining us, Anthony. We had a bit of back and forth, mainly our fault and time zone wise to finally get on here, but cheers for
No. I'm gonna take all responsibility for that. I'm pretty fucking stupid when it comes to time zones and mountain zones and daylight savings times and shit like that.
It's been a bit messy. It's been a bit messy at the minute, and there's been a lot else going on as well. It's, things slightly more important than podcasts. So, you're in the gym right now, I believe. So I just wanted to kind of see what's going on for you, business wise, gym wise, training wise. Obviously, Corona's kicking everyone's ass. So
we've been on lockdown twice now, and we're currently in a lockdown for 30 days from June 27th to July 27th. And when the first quarantine happened, the first lockdown happened, I believe it was at like the beginning of March. We shut down for I think the whole month of March, and I went back to my trade work, which is roofing. And I don't know if you guys know what the weather like is in southern Arizona during March, April, May, June, July, but it's about 107, 110, 115 degrees. And when you're on the roof, it's anywhere between 110 and 125. So, going back to roofing it's the same as working a street corner for me. Like it's not something I want to do at all, but it's something that I had to do to make money. And I had probably like 5 big awakenings during my time to be able to really reflect and have some retrospective and introspective perspectives and really think about what am I doing as far as a mixed martial artist? What am I doing as a dad? What am I doing as a husband? What am I doing as a gym owner and coach? And, where's my career going as an athlete after this is all opened up? And, this is one of the things that kind of made me sad is like my son is 6 and I barely taught him how to ride a bicycle during this whole thing because I had time. Usually I don't have time. I'm waking up, and doing, 6 a.m. classes sometimes with our kettlebell coach. And that I rarely wake up. But then the next thing is I'm teaching class at 10 a.m. Then I'm teaching class at 12 p.m. And then I'm running to pick up kids at school at 3. Then I'm picking up my wife up at 4. Then I'm back at the gym at 5:30, and I'm teaching there from 5:30 all the way to 9:30, 10 o'clock at night by the time I clean up. Then I'm coming home, cooking dinner. Don't eat till, 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. Then I got to wake up and do that shit again. So I very rarely, get to spend time with my sons and my daughters. And, this time it gave me uninterrupted peace and a lot of time to really think about what the fuck I've been doing with my life. And,
nice.
Being able to teach my son how to ride a bike and being able, I made a joke because my wife was like, God, he's really good at that. I was like, yeah, he's fucking 14. He might as well have a job. They're like, he's so, but then, with my 12-year-old son, I've been able to really strengthen a bond that we've kind of lost because he's a split house kid. We were able to really, solidify bonds and train together. And he's a bit as big as me, and he's 12. He's half Hawaiian. He's half Hawaiian, and half Mexican. And the kid's just sprouting huge. That Hawaiian gene is kicking in, and he's getting bigger and bigger than me every day. So I've been able to, do that same thing. And then with my daughter, I've been able to really get more training with her and sharpen her because she's one of the top ranked female wrestlers in the state of Arizona. She's ranked number 4th in the state right now. And, this is her senior year coming up. And as it looks like right now, they're going to cancel her senior year. You know what I mean? Where she had a really true opportunity to win the state championship. So we've been trying to navigate this whole thing, man. And I just can't do the shutdown shit anymore. So I've used a couple of loopholes when looking at the mandates. And, they said as of May 4th, if you were a voluntary appointment-based business, you could open up. So I opened up and I made everybody schedule an appointment with me as a private session. And my only time available for privates was 6:30 to 8 p.m. So That's when I had 25 people in a private session.
Nice. Well,
I like it.
I mean, glad to hear you've got a lot of things figured out, and yeah, that's some damn good fighting genes for your 12-year-old Hawaiian and Mexican. That's
Oh, dude.
You already know he's gonna have a chin on him when he gets older anyway. So
yeah, he's a big boy, man, and like my little brother, my younger brother is 6'2", 6'3", 265. He was a Division I football player in college, and he was also a two-time state champion wrestler, national champion wrestler. So when he got his scholarship letters, he got one letter for wrestling, one letter for football, and he chose football just because his sheer size and the love for the sport. So I'm assuming my son's gonna get huge, way bigger than me. And probably about when he's 16, he's gonna be like, I'm not listening to you anymore. Yeah. Then I'm gonna have to give him a liver shot and remind him, that his dad's a badass.
Yeah. You got years of jiu-jitsu on him anyway, so no matter how big he gets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, perfect. And for yourself, I suppose, Anthony, obviously, I know you're coming off 3 first-round finishes. I remember spotting that a few months ago, and I was like, all right, there's a. I think it was maybe pre-COVID. I was looking at maybe a tweet that you'd made to Sean Shelby or something like that, and you were calling for scraps and calling for competitions. But what's the fighting situation? I know it's not as easy to get a fight lined up at the moment, but
well, yeah, the only 2 organizations that are going right now, I should say 3 organization is Titan FC out in Florida, but they're only doing locals, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
And then LFA is in South Dakota, and they're doing a show every single Friday in the month of July. And then we obviously got Fight Island, Yeah. So I just signed with Jason House and Iridium Sports Agency, which is an interesting story in itself. There's a little bit back history there, some bad blood and some forgiveness that we had to have some chats. And I finally was like, dude, like, this is my last run. I've made peace with the fact of whoever I sign with next is probably where I'm going to retire. Sure. So I want to give it my all. I want to give it my last shot. And I want to be with a management company that gives me and my family the best opportunity to solidify my legacy for my sons, my daughters, and, really, end my career, on a successful peak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
nice.
I'm as of right now, I've been told I'm on standby, and we've seen, I think, 6 bantamweights get signed, in these last 2 weeks. The last one was John Castaneda, and he's fighting a guy from out in Europe, Nathaniel Wood, who's a scrapper.
He's a beast.
So that's going to be an amazing fight. I believe that's July 15th. I believe that this week, right?
Yeah, 2 days.
That's
Wednesday's
Nathaniel
card. Wood this week, or maybe it's the 25th. I can't remember, but I know that he just got signed, and he's an Iridium guy with Jason. So Jason's been getting all the 135ers in and getting matchups, and they just told me, like, dude, stay ready, get ready to go. So I've been doing my road runs. I've been in here with one of my Muay Thai guys hitting pads, and I'm still getting my competition jiu-jitsu rounds in, and man, I'm just so hungry to remind everybody and show everybody the new me, because I've matured so much. The first time, my analogy is I was like a teenager trying to get laid, right? I was just trying to do it fast and have fun. And now, I'm a mature man. I'm gonna take my time and make sweet love to the next time that I'm in this fucking bitch. So, that's what I'm focusing on is really taking my time and having poise and posture and really enjoying the ride rather than rushing through the whole thing and trying to get right into the top 10 like I did last time.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. And obviously, bantamweight is shit hot right now. I could name 20 names at the moment, and not to mention people like TJ Dillashaw coming back in a couple of months' time. So, if you're kind of injecting yourself in there, do you have any kind of individuals or perhaps people you may have previously fought you got your eye on, Anthony, in terms of a first fight, like first couple of fights?
The last like Davey Grant, you know what I mean? Like he just took out one of my teammates, Martin Day, and that was a scrap up until that 3rd round, and it was a basic boxing combination, 1, 2, 3, and that hook landed square on his chin and put him down. there's been so many kids that I look at and I'm like, God, this division is so young. This was me, my first run in the UFC. You know what I mean? And I look at these kids and I look at the division, and there's maybe one guy that I could say has the elite level wrestling, the elite level jiu-jitsu that I have paired together, and that's Aljo. And I've called Aljo out in the past, and I've talked shit to him. And you know, I think actually Aljo and Jan would be the matchup, you know, and I think Aldo's the guy to beat Jan, because I noticed in the fights, I know we're going to get into the fights this weekend, but I noticed in the fights that when Aldo would feint, Jan would cover up real heavy, and somebody like Aljamain Sterling's gonna feint, let him cover up, and then change levels and shoot, and let that jiu-jitsu really get into play. But you know, I see myself as a fucking tough fight for anybody, man. I have a well-rounded striking game between my Muay Thai and boxing. I have, you know, my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu are too much to handle right now. Even in the competitive no-gi jiu-jitsu scene right now, I'm out wrestling everybody. I'm out passing everybody. I'm you know, finishing with leg locks. I'm finishing with chokes. I'm not just a one-trick pony. So, you know, wherever the fight goes, I feel strong, or I feel at least you know, competent and proficient in whatever any fighter throws at me.
Yeah, I mean, we see you can clearly see the trend through the UFC right now, and that's, you know, dominant wrestlers are the people to beat in the sport, you know. And aside from Adesanya, really, you've got elite level wrestlers in every division. Maybe not Volkanovski, but and Yan is obviously much more of a striker. But it goes to show you, like, the people that are wrestling and staying on top of the sport are elite wrestlers. So yeah, it's definitely a good foundation to have, you know, and hopefully you can make your way back pretty quickly.
Yeah, and then that was the thing, right? Is like me trying to connect my jiu-jitsu with my wrestling. And for a long time, the affiliation that I was with, BJJ Revolution, and then I was with, you know, Gustavo Dantas, and then I was with Aries. The black belt that I had at the time switched affiliations like 3 times on me. And I told him, like, hey, I'm loyal to you. You started me in jiu-jitsu. I said, I barely like this shit, you know, and you're switching me. And now people that are above you are telling me what to do, and I don't fucking like that. So I represent you and not somebody else. And they're like, well, when you compete, you need to put their patch on your gi. And I go, well, that's a $500 spot. Are they going to pay me $500 to remove, you know, this patch for their patch? Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, I'm a professional athlete. And he's like, well, there's a lot of pro jiu-jitsu guys in this. I said, that's fine. How many UFC guys does your jiu-jitsu affiliation have? And they go, none. And I go, no, you got me. And you better recognize that fact. So there was a lot of times in jiu-jitsu that I kind of bucked the system, and I think I was just in my own way. And now that I'm with 10th Planet and Casey Halstead, I absolutely, truly love jiu-jitsu, and I think it shows through in my style now. I've just been, you know, wrestle fucking people, passing and taking their back and taking their legs home with me. And in my MMA fights, it's been, you know, rear naked choke after rear naked choke. So, you know, I think right now, as far as the wrestling with jiu-jitsu marriage, there's nobody that is on the 135 scene other than Aljamain that has that level of proficiency and competency and you know, the fluid motion of linking the two together. You know, and other than that, dude, there's so many guys that I look at and I go, you're a 25er, get the fuck out of my division. You're a 25er, get the fuck out of my division. What are you doing here? There's a 25 division, you know. So I know a lot of them, you know, wanted to come up to 135s because they were talking about dissolving 125s. But it's like, okay, it's back now. Get the fuck out.
You got to send a few down. Send a few down. Let them know where to go, Anthony. And Camille, you mentioned this weekend, and obviously to start at bantamweight, not to skip any fights, but Aldo and Jan. What did you make of that contest?
I think Aldo's body now is it's too compromised with the weight cut.
He took a nasty body shot in the first.
Even one of the commentators said something about a potential broken rib, and I was like, well, I'm not coming into a fight with a broken rib. I don't care if it's for the title. Like, a broken rib's dangerous. You know, you could puncture a lung, puncture an organ, But I know how the Brazilians are. They don't really give a shit about that stuff. You know what I mean? But I just think his liver's too taxed cutting that much weight. I think his organs are crying inside. And if you touch him to the body, he's going to fucking crumble.
Yeah. Yeah, he took a big body shot at the start of the first, and Jan nearly got him out of there. I was happy to see him kicking again. As soon as he threw that first kick, I was like, yes!
Yeah, I know. And then he fucking took him off his feet.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, dude, he got away from it again. He gets away from it, and I don't know why he gets away from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he telegraphs his kicks either. It's not like, that you can't see them coming, and it's such a weapon. And he was having so much success with it, and then he just stopped. It's so, and I was really pulling for Aldo. I'm a big Aldo fan, and I thought a lot of the build up was a lot of hype for Jan, and to be fair, he proved why why he's on a hype train right now. But it was disappointing to see, because he had the foundation of winning that fight with his leg kicks, and then he just went away from it.
Yeah, and it's like the thing I saw with both of them is Aldo's got a Muay Thai background. Jan has been at Tiger Muay Thai. That was a Muay Thai fight. They both were standing in front of each other, going kick for kick, punch for punch, which is cool for the fans. Did I enjoy it? No, I did not, because I realized, like, okay, look, like Jan is stuck in the mud, and if there's somebody with movement like TJ, somebody with movement like Dominic, somebody that has good movement, that kid's out of there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You know what I mean? Just somebody that understands, like Aljamain. Again, Aljamain is he boxes from the outside because he avoids the bullshit firefight. He knows that he doesn't want to get in there and get grimy and have dirt, that dirty style boxing. And if you are gonna stand in front of Jan, you're gonna pay the price.
I quickly get your thoughts, Anthony? Sorry, just a little bit off topic, but Sean O'Malley has kind of openly been against fighting someone who wants to wrestle and fighting someone that wants to go to the ground. He's like, I'm happy to fight strikers, and obviously he's a hot topic in the bantamweight division as well. What do you make of Sean O'Malley, and what do you make of that talk?
You know what? Like, I was gonna tweet something, but I can't talk shit to these UFC guys until I'm in the UFC.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing is you don't want to get taken down. You don't want to get grinded out, and he doesn't want to fight Merab Dvalishvili because he's got good jiu-jitsu. I watched him at Quintet. You know what I mean? And but the thing is mixing it up. Jiu-jitsu for MMA with striking to wrestling to jiu-jitsu, that's a lot of work. And I've always said, like, they're going to continue to give Sean O'Malley guys that are strikers. Yeah. And look at who they gave him. Chito Vera. Chito Vera's jiu-jitsu is phenomenal, bro. Like, I've grappled with Chito numerous times, and I love the way he mixes up striking. He's working with Coach Daryl Christensen and TJ, and he's been upping his wrestling. I think he's going to be too much for Sean. He's not going to let that false bravado of like I'm just going to stand here and I'm going to slip and then fire. Like, he's not going to let that get to him. He's not going to let that, like, those spin kicks land. He's not going to let all that bullshit that Sean O'Malley gets away with these other fighters. It's not going to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you knocked out Eddie Wineland. Eddie Wineland has fought with his hands in his fucking pocket for a decade. You don't think somebody with half decent striking who's young and has power is going to knock him the fuck out? Of course. They knew what the fuck was going on with that fight.
Yeah. It's definitely becoming more and more prevalent now that, it's quite clear that the UFC are already trying to set him up for success. They're not trying to put him up against somebody who poses a significant threat.
But they did the same thing with Conor now. Now we're starting to see the world of boxing permeate to MMA, where it's like, we're going to give you this route, right? And then by the time you do run into somebody, because the old Mike Tyson saying, right? Success breeds confidence and confidence breeds success. Like, by the time he did get to the fucking dudes that might have taken him out early in the career, he was already ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I still want to see the Chad Mendes fight, on a full camp. Yeah. That would have been the thing right there. So but when I look at the bantamweight division and I think of Sean O'Malley and I think about the guys that could give him problems, it's like, yes, he's got rainbow colored hair and he's a spectacle, and yes, he's talented. He's very talented. He's fun to watch. But there's guys like him going like, oh, they just, I'm trying to avoid guys that want to wrestle. That's a fight, motherfucker. Like, we're not boxing. If you want to box, go to boxing. If you want to go to Muay Thai, go to Muay Thai. You know what I mean? Don't come to the UFC and not expect to get wrestle fucked by somebody like Marab.
Yeah, and that's it's a very good point. And Usman pretty much dominated Masvidal over the weekend, and everyone's like, oh, it's boring. I'm not watching Usman again. It's like, Usman's just exceptionally good at what he does, and you have to credit the man for how he beats people. It's not always going to be super exciting, but as you just said, it's MMA. It's not kickboxing. It's not stand there and hope to knock somebody out. It's mixed martial arts, and there's many forms of that. So
and if you just get right, let's say there's 5 forms of the art that we look at in every single fight, right? There's 5 forms, and you specialize in just one of them that you're very good at, and that other guy specializes in 4, and you get your one game going for 5 rounds, you won, and that's the game you had to play. So like, yes, it was a boring fight. Me and Kamaru Usman wrestled at the same college when we were coming up at William Penn University in Iowa, and so I was supporting him. And I have always supported him, and it's even though this was a boring fight, I understand why he had to play that game. And they compared him to GSP in a couple of the fights where GSP used that same game to get past some of the most dangerous dudes in the division.
Yep. And I mean, he's already proved, he proved to the world in his last fight that he can stand up and he can knock somebody out. I mean, he knocked Kobe Covington out, and as much as a lot of people don't like Covington is a very good athlete, and
he's fucking very good, very good.
And Usman beat him standing up. So it's like, Masvidal's clearly a much harder hitter, somebody who can knock you out, and he fought a perfect game plan. I mean, the first round could have gone Masvidal's way, landed more strikes, but I thought Kamaru Usman was very good, very sound defensively. Didn't really eat anything that could have really caused him trouble. Had his hands up the entire fight, and then he just dominated in the clinch. And it's like it's as good a performance and a smarter performance as you would wish to see against a genuine threat in Masvidal. The only real risk of Usman losing that fight was if he did stand up and trade, and he knew better than to do that.
Well, I just had one of my black belt women that's here. She's an Optos black belt as well, but me and her went to high school together, and she's been training here at 10 Planet Tucson with us. Her name is Heather Raftery. We were out at a submission on the shore out in California, and we were going up against an IBJJF pan champion, IBJJF world champion, and I go, hey, this match is going to be boring. You got to make it boring, right? You're going to have to play on top, and we're going to have to take it into overtime where she might not understand the tactics of EBI overtime. And I told her that. And she was the only girl that didn't get submitted in overtime by that girl who won. She ended up winning the whole tournament, right? And we had her in the semifinals. And I said, hey, I know you show your new tools, and I know you want to show your style. We got to make this boring. You got to get on top, and we just got to shut her guard work down. Right. And that's what we did. And we went into overtime, and, unfortunately the overtime didn't go our way, but that sometimes you got to make it fucking boring. Sometimes you got to understand, you got to be honest with yourself, brutally honest with yourself. What's your strengths and weaknesses? And if your one strength is the fact that you're resilient, you're durable, and you can withstand a lot, then let's use that and hold that fucking person till we can get to a place where we wear them down to a sense of their cardio's gone. They're getting frustrated, and they're starting to make mistakes because they're trying to force stuff. Those are the things that I look for as a coach. And Trevor Whitman's one of the brightest, brilliant, strategists in the game, and he did just that with Cameroon.
Yeah, 100%.
Can I get your thoughts, Anthony, on the Holloway Volkanovski decision?
Well, this is an interesting fight because this is where I started getting drunk, and I was like, fuck. Okay, so I started getting a little bit tipsy at that fight. I still think Max won, and if you look at even just the scorecards, 3-2. It was 2-2 going into the 5th, right?
Yeah, that's how I had it.
2-2.
No, I had a 3-1.
3-1.
I thought Max had the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, so did I. And then Volkanovski got
Which title fight was 2-2 going? Oh, that was Jan Aldo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then yes, Max had a drop in round 2 or 3 with the head kick.
Round 1 and 2. He dropped him twice.
Okay, so 10-8?
Yeah, I mean that's how it should. I mean
10-8. You get a drop. If you get a drop, right? That should automatically be a 10-8 if you didn't get dropped yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Or like taking down.
Certainly, if we're following the boxing scoring system, which we are, so it should be a 10-8 round. Yeah, you're right.
Should be 10-8, right? So
yeah.
That's
but it wasn't.
Now you're going into round 3, and he still looked phenomenal.
Yeah, he's going into round 3, 4 points up. Yeah. With 3 rounds to go.
I'm no math magician, but that sounds like he's fucking winning that fight.
Yeah.
Well,
see, so that that's obviously very, very useful, because if they were 10-8, because I mean he dropped them in the first and he dropped them in the second. Now he wasn't rocked badly, he wasn't on his back, but he was dropped. So technically, if you consider them both 10-8 rounds, then Max won that by a landslide. And that was something that I was confused about afterwards. Is I was like, Volkanovski didn't really land anything that had Max wobbled or rocked or in any way really hurt. He landed a similar amount of strikes, maybe even more after the 5 rounds. But Max definitely landed more damage, and he controlled the center of the octagon for the entire fight.
Absolutely, yeah. Stalking, running him down, his crisp boxing, the head movement. One of the things that I learned from Gilbert Melendez when I would train out in San Francisco every once in a while with Chris Carriaso at Fight and Fitness. I got an opportunity to kind of pick Gil's brain. How many times Gil had been in a 5-round fight at that time? I said, "Hey, what's your advice to me going into my first 5-round fight?" He goes, "Wins round 1 and 3, take round 4 off, come back like a fucking beast in round 5." Right?
Love it.
And he goes,
that's deadly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck. Me being a young kid, I want to be on the gas pedal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you look at what Max did, he won round 2 and 3. He took round 4 off, whether that was willingly or unwillingly. And then he looked pretty half decent in 5, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I was drunk by round 4 or 5, so I needed help with that one.
Yeah, it's
I mean, for me, like I don't think it was a robbery, but I feel like I thought it was very, very clear who won that fight, and it was Max for me. In the first fight, I thought Volkanovski clearly won that fight, and there was some people that kind of said, "Oh, Max could have won that," but I thought Volkanovski won clearly. But this one was just so in your face. Max made so many adjustments from the first fight. He fought beautifully in the first 3. Even in the 4th, I still felt he was very much in control, but Volkanovski outlanded him. So, yeah, I'm a big Holloway fan, and I was very, very disappointed with that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just one of those things in judging right now. It's like, what the fuck are you watching? How are you scoring? What are you looking for? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the fighters should be able to fucking interview the judges and go, "What are you looking for?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a dating show, like a dating game show where you have like your 3 judges lined up to your fucking, there's a blind panel right here, and you're like, if we were on a first date, would you take me down, strike me up, or jujitsu me? You know what I mean? And then you're like, "Oh, that's what you're looking for? All right, fucker, that's what I'm gonna do."
Yeah.
Because the same thing happened to me in Rizin. They were like, "Are you ready for the not 10-8 or 10 must system, but judging the fight as a whole?" And I go, "Yeah, that makes the most sense in a fight, right?"
Yeah.
Then I get fucked on 2 split decisions.
Yeah.
And I go, "Okay, let me ask you a question." And this is my exact quote, and the Japanese interviewers looked so befuddled and confused, and then had an enlightening like, "Oh, he's right." I said, "If there is a pie or a cake, and I eat 2/3 of that pie or cake, who owns that?" And they go, "You do." And I go, "Exactly. So how the fuck did I lose if I only lost round 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they went like,
tricky, isn't it?
oh, shit. And I go, yeah. So what you guys, I don't need to win round 2 and 3, or I don't need to win round 1 and 2. I just need to look good as fuck in round 3.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
And I feel like, to your point, Anthony, I feel like there's very, very little, if any, accountability at all from the judges. Like they have the decision, and then you kind of hear about it, and then that's it. There's no accountability. I don't think, there's been some terrible decisions, recently as well.
Like that T-shirt you have on right now. Worst decision of the day. Yes.
Savage.
All right. Okay. You got me there. But seriously, there's no accountability. The judges make the decisions, and there's no real reasoning behind it. There's no, you see the scorecards, but there's no explanation or a detailed explanation as to why they decided to go with that route.
What would be tremendous if now the post-fight interviews, on top of the fighters being interviewed, the judges had to come up and answer a fucking myriad of questions from the mob on why the fuck they decided to go that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
how dope would that be? How fucking amazing would that be? Where
to be right.
Like, okay, what the fuck were you watching?
Yeah. Anthony, come here. I just spotted the time. I don't want to keep you any longer. I'm sorry, and thank you for the time. Let me blast a couple of really
this is your first interview with me. If you don't fucking know, I can talk like a son of a bitch. I'll chatter all fucking day with you guys.
That's good. We got many episodes and plenty of fight cards coming up. But I got to ask you, bantamweight, if you could pick a fight. Oh, we might have lost you. Are you there? All right. If you could pick a return fight, excluding maybe top 4, top 5, whatever. If you had a choice, who would it be?
In the top 10 right now?
Yeah.
Man,
maybe like stylistically.
Dude, there's so many. Like I would always love to fight Dominic Cruz because he's from my hometown.
Yeah.
And I would want the bragging rights for Tucson. I would love to fight Davey Grant, like I just said, Davey Grant. Brett Johns would be a fight that I would take. I'm trying to think of who else. Luis Smolka. There's a bunch of guys that, but like I said, man, I'm really just trying to take my time with all this. I don't want to call all these people out like I did my first run. I went from Ian Entwistle, who I never should have lost to Joe Soto, who I shouldn't have beat. And then, Thomas Almeida, who I had hurt in the first minute of the fight and then got knocked the fuck out. And then I fought I asked for Rafael Assunção. Big for my britches, and I was trying to do too much, too fast. Everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now it's like, I'm really gonna enjoy this last part of the journey, and just take it as it comes. But don't get me wrong. If there's someone that I'm like, all right, bitch, like, let's go, like, that's that. I'm all about respect and vibes and energy, and like, there's going to be times at fight week where you have an opportunity to either, show me your colors and show me that you're fake, or be a respectable gentleman fighter and show the respect. But, there's times where it's like, all right, I just don't fucking like you. Let's roll.
Yeah. Okay. And I've got one, I've been dying to ask any MMA fighter. Stylistically, out of the male champions in the UFC at the moment, who do you think you have the best chance against?
Stylistically, out of the male champions?
Yeah, everyone's the same size.
Are we saying me as the same size?
Yeah. Everyone's the same size. Who do you get the best shot against? Some nice matchups here.
25 doesn't really have a champion, right?
Yeah, true. We'll go for Joseph Benavidez there. He's my champion at 25.
Joseph Benavidez, who's my teammate at 10th Planet Las Vegas and Extreme Couture. But yeah, I like that fight with Figueroa. If I was 25s, I'd fight Figueroa. If 35s, I like my fight with Aljo, or who's else is right there at the top?
Marias.
Marias. I tried fighting Marias in World Series of Fighting, and I didn't know Ali was his manager at the time, as well as the matchmaker. And I said, yeah, dude, sign me. I can't wait to take down that Muay Thai fighter ground and pound the shit out of him. And then, I never got signed, obviously.
I wonder why, yeah.
But I would love to fight TJ. It took fucking TJ 5 rounds to knock out Joe Soto, and I did it in 1. And Joe Soto beat the shit out of his face.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I'd fucking it's frustrating looking back at how close I was to maybe getting into the top 10, top 5, and as far as 45s, I like I would like, all these guys are my friends, man. Like fucking Brian Ortega, like all these people are my fucking friends. 55s, Jesus. 55
That's a crazy
is weird.
division right now.
70s is weird. 70s, man. Who would I couldn't do. That's such a bizarre question to ask. Like,
yeah, I know, right? Well, I mean, like
heavyweight, anybody. Right? Anybody.
Line them up. Yeah, heavyweight's interesting moment, right? We got Stipe Miocic's 3 coming up. I'm looking forward to that.
205, I would love Dominic Reyes or Thiago Santos, Majeto. Yeah, so
get them
those
both
guys
down.
Those guys right at the top right there. I think just my motion, my wrestling to jiu-jitsu, all that's a problem for those dudes at that size. If I was the same size, that'd be amazing.
or if there was 2 of you, you could come out.
Or if there's 2 of me, little guys, yeah.
Yeah, you can come out from both sides. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Anthony, I know you're in the gym and you're in class, so I really appreciate the time, and so does Neil. We're thankful. I know we're only small, so it says a lot about you jumping on and chatting to us, man. Really.
No worries, man. I really wanted to apologize to you guys for the 2 times that I just fucked up the time zones.
No.
On top of that, you give me military time, so then I gotta like subtract, carry the 1, fucking add 3 hours, subtract 3 hours, and then I gotta look at my. I fucked up a bunch, so
that's all.
That's on me. I definitely appreciate you guys,
being
patient with me and letting me figure it out and having me on for sure.
Yeah, good chat, man. Hope you see you in the UFC soon.
Man. I hope it comes soon. I hope maybe the July 25th or the August 7th card. I'll get a call for somebody. I know the card. There's like Cool Hand Luke versus Chris Gutierrez. There's Frankie Saenz versus John Martinez on that August. It's that first week in August. I'm just hoping. I fucking hate that I say I hope someone falls out, but someone's misfortune is my gain. That's how it's got to be right now.
Yeah. All right.
Well, good luck. We hope to see you soon, and you're always welcome back. Hopefully, we have a UFC fight to talk about the next time you're on.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, everybody, make sure you guys follow me at Birchak MMA on Instagram, Anthony Birchak on Facebook, and Birchak MMA on Twitter. All right.
Yeah, we got you.
All right,
cheers,
cool,
brother.
man. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Anthony.
Beautiful. Yeah, so we finally pinned him down. That was the most difficult one. We were having some time zone problems because I try and give people New York time because almost everyone is ET, right, or EST, because almost everyone is US based.
There's actually
but then the clocks changed like last week, right? And
yeah, so I don't know. I honestly I had no idea that was even a thing. Like seriously, I had no idea that whatever. Anyway, like Anthony said, I'm pretty bad with the old.
I was delighted to get the shirt comment in there.
Well, you can take it's a tie-dye shirt that Sam made me, so she'll.
I know. We talked about this before. I know.
Oh, we did. All right.
We've talked about this twice before.
But anyway, yeah. So the only thing is,
it's nice. I have no problem with the shirt. I just thought it would be an opportune moment.
Don't backtrack now because Sam's gonna hear it. Don't backtrack.
Well, it was the hat or the shirt, and I've already called you out in the hat every episode.
The hat's been addressed many a time, but
I can't see your pants. If I could see your pants, I would have said something.
Yeah, they're a pair of black shorts. They're pretty neutral. You can't really say much about a pair of black shorts.
Well, I can't see them anyway. So it was the shirt or the hat.
Well, you're not gonna see them anyway. But big thanks again for finally getting that sorted with Anthony. Definitely something we need to address because America is such a big country. There's 3 different time zones. So thanks again to Anthony for coming on. It was great to get his insight. I really liked his his breakdown of Aljo versus Yan in terms of the, you know, what he said there about feinting and Yan was, you know, he would cover up quite quickly. And
it's true though. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but when I think about the stylistic matchup now maybe Cruz, I can see Yan maybe getting to Cruz, but TJ again, I have steroid TJ burnt into my head.
Yeah.
So I've only seen one riding TJ, so I don't know what he's going to be like. But he looks like he's in good shape. But I mean, stylistically, I just think that Yan really struggles to hit TJ, and TJ just hits Yan whenever he wants.
Yeah.
I think it's a really, really tough fight for Yan, which is great. Which is great because it'll be a massive fight if and when it happens. You know, when the fuck is TJ back? By the way.
I don't know. It's got to be soon, though, right?
It's
got to be within the next 6 months, I would say.
I'll do some Google on that. Sorry, man. I ignorantly cut across you there. You were saying something. I don't know what.
No, it's all good. I think, you know, as I said, I would imagine it's got to be within the next 6 months at least. But I was just talking about Anthony's breakdowns. You know, on a lot of that.
January 2021. January 2021.
Yeah. So not quite. Oh, that is inside 6 months, right?
Yeah, 5 months away, man.
Yeah. So,
sorry, I cut across you again.
Yeah. No, it's all again. I was just kind of referring to what Anthony was saying. You know, with the kind of technical breakdowns that he gave, and you know, I think he summed that Aldo and Yan fight up very, very, very well. You know, they were just both kind of standing inside the pocket. You know, it didn't actually look like it was an MMA contest. It looked like it was a kickboxing / Muay Thai. You know, fight for the majority. And I mean, to be fair, you know, we talked about this last week. I very much had Aldo. I thought Aldo would beat Yan comfortably over 5 rounds, but Yan's got an absolute gas tank on him. Man. He did not slow down for a second in 5 rounds.
He can take some kicks. He can take some kicks too. I was glad to see Aldo kick him again.
But his face as well. I mean, Ando landed some big shots, and he didn't look like he was coming out of a fight after that. Like he, you know, and again, I said in the last one, I think he's going to be a future champion. I just didn't think he was going to do it against Aldo. Yeah. So, I mean, not that he's ever going to care about my opinion, but
I was surprised by how small he looked. Like, now I know Aldo's obviously big, but if you look at Aldo, he's quite like
he's very
wide at the shoulder, and then he slims down. Yan is like a kind of like a cheese string with arms. He doesn't come out at all. There's no width on him, and he's no hips. He's got thin legs, thin waist, thin body, thin shoulders, and then hands. And he like leaps in with the shots. He's weird. He's very different.
He's got some serious boxing though. But yeah, I mean, I know we've already kind of talked about a lot of these fights, but yeah, I was very, very upset with the Holloway decision. Again, I
was about to say we won't spend too long on them, but you're making a Holloway decision in particular.
Yeah, but I mean, look,
I don't think we could be too upset though. It was really close again. Like I think it was, regardless of the decision, I think it was a closer fight than the first fight.
Yeah, 100%, and that was that was something that I kind of said. You thought it was going to go the other way. I knew it was going to be closer. You know, and it was looking so good for Max. First 2 rounds were phenomenal. He looked so good. Volkanovski really didn't seem to have much of an answer, and I think he knew his back was up against the wall, and he very much showed championship caliber with his 4th and 5th round performance. So yeah,
you might notice
it wasn't a robbery.
One thing I noticed was Volkanovski would land a leg kick and Max would immediately throw 3 leg kicks, and he might just land 2 of them, but really softly. But basically, what he was saying was like, okay, you're going to score a point with a kick, I'll score 2 points back immediately every time. I think he got a bit caught up on that, and then Volkanovski started to crack him in the head a bit, you know, so it's a bit of a...
And Volkanovski kept landing that jab as well. He landed that over and over again. Which was big for him.
Well, I'll ask you this on the featherweight division now. So Volkanovski scrapes through, really controversial decision, but has 2 wins now in a row over Max Holloway. Max Holloway arguably won that fight, but is coming off 2 losses to the current champion Volkanovski. So question 1, what do you do next for Volkanovski? And question 2, what does Max Holloway do next?
Well, I think as much as I want to see them run it right back, I don't think they will because of what you just said. So I think it's pretty much got to be the Korean Zombie, really. I think he's the next in line.
Or
I
Brian
would.
Ortega, right? Because they're
Well, I mean,
scheduled.
Brian Ortega hasn't fought in nearly 2 years now. So,
But if
I
he
mean,
beats the Korean Zombie,
oh yes, oh,
I mean
100%.
they're
Yeah.
matched up. They're fighting. So
Well, has that been announced yet? Because I know it was, and then Ortega pulled
I
out.
believe it's confirmed again. Yeah,
Right. Okay. So look, we'll see that one, and honestly,
winner of that.
I like Ortega's chances against the Korean Zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Not
For Holloway,
massively. For Holloway, yeah. I mean, would he take the loser of that? You know, would he? Maybe? Well, we've also got Cater and Ige.
I reckon you just do Holloway as a beat.
Well, God damn it, I'm more than okay with seeing that.
Because
However,
if you're gonna put the winner of Zombie and Christ, Brian Ortega. It's getting late here. If you're going to put the winner of Zombie and Ortega, then it kind of leaves a beat odd out. There's a beat or Yair. Jesus Christ, Holloway and Yair either.
yeah, I mean,
That's assuming
honestly,
Holloway wants
I
to stay featherweight now. That's assuming
I
Holloway wants to
think
featherweight.
I
Hear it
don't.
here first. Hear it here first. Tony Ferguson versus Max Holloway at lightweight at Christmas.
Oh God, I mean, as much as I want to see that, I just don't think Holloway going up to 155 is a good idea. I just don't. I can't see it. I think 145
Great
is
idea for
his
us
division.
from an entertainment
Yeah,
perspective.
yeah.
Not
I mean,
a good idea for him.
if he wanted to do that and then say he was to beat Tony Ferguson and then go back down to 145, I'm cool with that. However, what I would very much like to happen, and someone that I was about to talk about was Kelvin Cater and Ige are fighting soon. That's a good scrap, and if Cater wins
This Wednesday.
This Wednesday, that's a big scrap.
Cater is not far away if he wins that.
Exactly, and that's what I was saying. If Cater does beat Ige, I think Holloway and Cater, because I mean Cater's on a roll right now, and I'm all about that fight. And
yeah,
I mean he will be very much putting himself. Cater will very much be putting himself in line as a top contender if he gets by Ige, and then if he were to beat Max, then he's absolutely next in line. But I would probably slightly favor Max against Cater, slightly.
And just to round out the 251 card before we look at ahead of Wednesday, Usman Masvidal. Yep. Obviously, we both know the result. Same question. What's next for Masvidal? What's next for Usman?
Masvidal, you could pretty much give him any top contender at this point. You know, I feel like.
Yeah, but who do you give him? Or who are the top two that you're thinking?
I'm not sure. I mean,
for me, Usman should rightfully be fighting both Leon Edwards and Gilbert Burns. Both of them have earned a title fight, and they both deserve a title fight, and neither of them deserve to fight each other to have to get that title fight. They both deserve a title fight now, so it's a real weird way.
I think for Usman, it's an easy answer for me. I think Burns. I think Burns was in line.
Convenience.
What?
Well, was he in line though? He's won 4 in a row, and I get one of them is over Woody, but Leon Edwards has won 8 in a row, man.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's tricky. Now it'll probably be Burns out of convenience, right? Because they're both based in the States or whatever. Yeah. But who else is there? That's it, really, right? Burns.
I mean, you've still got Wonder Boy knocking around. You still got Woodley in the mix. But the welterweight division, I want to just pull it up here.
Yeah, do you think? Well, for me, anyway, Masvidal. I think you do Masvidal.
Oh, fucking hell! How are we forgetting this? I cannot believe I've forgotten this. Masvidal and Covington. That's the fight right there.
Yeah, I was just saying that, right, because that potentially is the fight, right? But I think you can do Covington and Edwards or Covington and Burns, either, and they're both good fights. And I think the Masvidal Colby fight is big down the line. I think you might strike now and do the Masvidal Diaz fight because they're both coming off a loss. I know Diaz is another, because Diaz has been doing some tweeting recently too, so maybe, who knows? But anyway, right, we've gone over 251 about 4 times and then hit the reverse gear and gone back over it.
Yeah,
we have now. We were supposed to have a fight night this Wednesday, which is going to consist of a co-main, a Pedro Munoz and Frankie Edgar, but Munoz has been as he's got the Rona. So that's pushed back, but that has been added to Stipe DC card in August. So happy with that. So now this fight night on Wednesday is going to go ahead, but the new main event is Tim Elliott and Ryan Benoit. Good fight for me and you, but I don't think it's the best fight for people that don't know the sport that well. But obviously the main event.
Could you pull up the card, because
I have it there, yeah.
Bro, I'm getting so. Can you share that? Just because I'm getting so confused. Because I mean, they've announced so many, so it's like an unbelievable time. But I don't know which fight is happening when.
You're confused, bro. Yeah.
What'd you say?
You're confused, bro.
I'm a little bit confused. Yeah.
No, is that working? It didn't work the last day.
It says it started screen sharing, so we will see. Yeah, there we go. Nice.
Yes, this is a war, brother. This is a scrap right here.
That is a. I keep forgetting Decatur is 32 though. You know, like this is very much. I think his kind of. I mean, he's improved with every fight that he's had in the last 3 years. But yeah, it's something. It's easy to forget because he doesn't look like that either.
The fights on Sunday then is they're a bit earlier. They start at 1. The main card and the prelim start at 10. That is beautiful. Right, let's get out of here. Yeah, Ige as well as the talent. So I'm interested in that main event. I don't think I'm going to stay up for that anymore now that Munoz and Egger are falling out because, well, hang on a second. Let me just be sure of it. Yeah, it starts at 3 a.m. And the main card is. It's all right, but it's not worth staying up till 6. Like this card at the weekend, man, because it was 3 title fights, it didn't end till 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So I slept from 12 until 2. I missed a couple of the prelims, then got up at 2. I was up to half. I'm getting tired now. I've been thinking about it. I was up to 6:30, man. It was bright outside from like the Rose and Andrade fight. Like it had been dark and got bright. It was horrible. Yeah. I was like, ugh, get me to bed. It just started getting real tired. But listen, let's wrap this shit up, my man. We're on Thursday again in advance of Saturday's card. Saturday's card is Figueiredo and Benavidez, and then Hermanson is fighting Gastelum too. So that's a scrap as well.
Great scrap, yeah. That is great scrap. But yeah, cool. Well, anyway, thanks again to Anthony Birchak for coming on.
Yeah, cheers, Anthony.
Yeah, it was good chatting with him, and good for lining that up and being persistent. But yeah, it was. Yeah, interesting night of fights. I don't think it quite lived up to the hype, only because of how much hype there was surrounding the first ever Fight Island card. But still a good night of scraps, and we've got plenty more to look forward to. So tune in to episode number 13, 14, whatever it may be. We've lost track.
13, so 13 next, 12 at the moment, 13 out there. Yeah.
Cool.
Cheers.
All right.
Bye. Bye.